Hello guys, my name is Khan, and in today's video we will talk about several things that you can do in Tableau. So mainly I will talk about that how you can change data types in Tableau, how you can view your data in Tableau, how you can rename the variables in Tableau, and other than that, how you can split some columns into multiple columns. So for this video, I will be using again my US census data that I have used for previous videos too, but this data is a little bit different. So I will quickly go through this data. So again, this data is for US country only. So all the observation have the same country, USA. Then we have states. Each observation is for each state. Then there is a state. This is a short abbreviation of state, region. We are dividing the data into 4 regions. Then we have few variables like population, death, marriage, divorce, year, date, and status. The state is poor or rich, and when the data is collected. This is the start date. So this is the quick overview about the data. So the first thing what we will do is that in order to work in Tableau works in 3 steps. First, we need to import the data into Tableau. Second, we create visualization, and the third is that we share our reports with other users. So the first thing what I will do, I have a shortcut of Tableau on my main screen. I will click it. So this is my Tableau. So the first thing I will do, I will import the data, as the data is in Excel format. So I will say connect to Microsoft Excel, US Census, open. So you can see that Tableau is showing me the data into preview. So here very quickly I will tell you that if you guys see that each column name, country, state, and state too, I will open the data to the thing that so this is the data that actually I imported. So when you import this data into Tableau automatically you can see that make the variable names into a proper format. So you can say state, S is capital here now, whereas here when we in the actual data it's small s. So the good thing about Tableau is that Tableau do such kind of things automatically. And the other thing that you have to see that above the variable is showing me that from where this data is coming from. It's coming from the US Census database. For all the variables, we have the same US Census written down. And after that, there is a globe sign appearing. So this section or this part of the Tableau preview is telling us that what is the data type of this variable. So this globe sign means that this is a kind of a geographical variable. So if I click it, you can see that under the string it have a category. If you come down here, the Tableau have assigned it as a category of country or region, that this variable is capturing country or region variable information. And now if I come to, whereas there are about 6 or 7 data types available: number, decimal, number, whole, date and time, date, string, and the colonian is more like true or false. So now if I come to this, so this is also a state variable, but if I click it now and if I go to geographic, as it says that it's string, but under the string it's further divided into further category, and the further category of this string is state/province. So this is, you can see that this is the strong thing about the Tableau, is that Tableau automatically identify the variable categories. In this case, we by default the Tableau behaved very efficiently and assigned the right category. So suppose if you think that the Tableau haven't assigned the right category, so suppose here it's assigned as a string, and under the string it's considered as geographical, again state and province. But suppose if you want to change the data type within the string, but you think that it's not state/province, I'm just saying here it is correctly identified, you want to consider it as just a string, so you can say none. So here you can say once it categorized just as a string, you can see it here. It is written down here ABC. So the ABC means it's just a simple string variable. Here you can say simply string variable. Whereas these variables are also string variable, but further defined as geographical string variables. And the good thing that Tableau, that whatever changes, suppose I have just changed the state to variable data type to string, all these changes are automatically applied to your sheet 1 or in which you will be working. So now you can see the state 2 is now string, whereas their state is geographical variable. I go back to my variable. So now if we look at the population, and in the population we have assigned as this number sign. Number sign mean that it's number hold, it's contain numeric values. And so when you import the data, and if you go to sheet 1, you can see that these variables are categorized into two categories: dimensions and measures. In measures you will always see numeric variable, whereas in dimensions you will be having date variable, geographical variable, string variable. So again we have population, death, marriage and divorce, and year, all are numeric variable, whereas here we have a date variable. And above the date variable you can see there is a calendar sign. So the calendar sign, if I click it, you can see that it's a date data type. So if you want to change the data type, you can easily change those data types from here. Sometimes when you import a bigger database, sometimes the variables are not correctly identified into the proper data type, so you can change it manually by coming here. So the next thing I will show you guys that how you can view your data. Even here you can also view your data. So suppose here it's showing me the 50 rows, but if you want to because sometimes in order to get an overview of data you don't need to go through all the data, you just need to simply see a subsection of your data that you imported. So my 10 rows data is, you can see it here, it got updated according to 10 rows. And the good thing is that suppose if you are working in a bigger database in Tableau and you realize that not much of the variables are important to you, then you can hide those variables by simply right clicking it, and then you can say hide. And if you want to see those variables again, there is an option show hidden fields. So you click it here again, so you can see it will appear again. Or if I uncheck it again, if I select that variable and right click it, it's I think you can also unhide it from here too, but the simpler way is that you simply come here and show hidden fields. Once you can right click that variable and again right click it and then unhide, so now it's unhidden again. So other than that, you can also rename your variables. So suppose I want to rename this state to, so in order to rename it, you just need to simply double click that variable, and then suppose I want to write down a state _2, and then that's all. So you can see that I have renamed it. But suppose if you're not happy with your rename and you want to reset it, so that's also very easy. In order to reset it, you can see that there is a down arrow button here. You will click that, and here there is an option of reset name. Reset name means that reset it according to when we imported the data into Tableau. So when we reset it back to the database name, you can say even now it's small s, not the capital S. The other thing is suppose that if you want to copy the column, in order to copy the column, so suppose so sometimes when you need to do some mathematical operations, it's advisable to use a copied column instead of, so suppose if you even make any error, you have the original data as it is. So suppose if you want to do that, if I right click it, and there is an option create calculated field, and here suppose I have moved it back, so I will want to copy the same, want to add another column which is actually the copy of depth. So suppose if I want to create a depth 2, so again here it is depth written down, you can, and then I say apply. Okay, so you can see I have the second variable depth 2 now, which is the same as the depth. In the same way, you can also create string variable, geographical variable, duplicate of those variables. I will go through once we will talk more about calculated fields in my later videos. The second thing is that suppose if you want to copy some data from your Tableau to Power BI, sorry, Tableau to Excel or some other software, how can you do that? So suppose if I right click my variable, so suppose if I want to copy this data into Excel, suppose right click it, then I can say copy values, and if I go to my data, I think it's better to open a raw data, so I will open a blank sheet, and if I control V here, you can see that. But the important thing is that it only copied just the 10 observation data, because I have selected here 10. So suppose if you want to select more than 10, you can increase the number of rows here. So let's say if I do it 50, and now if I copy, select depth variable, and then copy values, and paste it here again. So now you can see I have 50 values here. So in the same way, suppose if you just want to copy simply 3 or 4 observations, so I will say select it, Control C, and then you can simply paste it in, come to Excel or text file, wherever you want to paste, Control V. And the important thing is that when you copy the values, it also copied the variable name where you have copied the cells. Other than that, so suppose if you want the whole data set to be copied, that's very simple. You just simply select anywhere in the data, then Control A, then Control C, it will copy all the data. So suppose if I paste it here, Control V, now you can see we have all the data into Excel, simply copy pasted into Excel from Tableau. And in the end, what I will talk also about the split function in Tableau. So if I go to before going to the split function, what do is that it split the data within the column. Again, it split the data within the column based on some delimiters, so maybe space, colon, whatever you like. So in order to, and the other thing is that this split function is only applicable on the string variable. So as you can see, this geographic variable is actually also a string variable. Can also apply on this string variable, but split of function is not applicable on date or number sign. So suppose if I come to this down arrow button, you can see that there is a split and custom split functions available. But again, if I go to this string variable again, there is split and column custom split function available. But if I come to my numeric variable, there is no split function available, and the same is true for date variables. There is no split function. The split function is available only for variables which are string variables. So suppose if I want to split this column based on whenever the S appears, then split that column into a new column. But I think it's also good that if you want to use split function, don't use that split function on the original variable. Create a copy of your variable and then apply it. So suppose if I right click this variable, then I say create calculated field. So if I want to say country 2, country 2 will be the same as this country variable, apply. So now you can see I have this variable. Close it down, and now let's see if I go to this down arrow button, and if I say split. So I think preferably I will go through the custom split. So if I say custom split, so the custom split, so I will say use the separator. So I'm saying whenever the S appear, split it off. So I will say split, and then it's asking me, is it the split of first whenever the first S appear or the last S appear? Let's see if we stick it here with the first S, and then I will go to the second case. Okay, so now if I said okay, if I go scroll because it have added variables here, so it have splitted the USA, and you can say it added when the S appeared, it split it in, and only the A is captured here. And we can see do the same thing here again. But suppose you want to also capture the information which is coming after S. In order to do that, you will go to here again, custom split, again press S, and then say last S. Sorry, I think I have to do it. Yes, you can see that last A. So you can see that now it's capturing this value to the last the A. So in this way, you can decide that you want to capture the information before the splitter or after the splitter by selecting the last option or the first option. Another example I would like to give for the split function is because the split function is very important, especially when you have to manipulate the data in Tableau. So let's do it again. So for the state, and let's say if again I will let's do it with the state. So I will say state. I will click it here. Then I will say custom split. But this time I want to split whenever the L appears in this variable. I will say custom split, and say L, say columns 1, because I'm just saying first. Okay, so if I go to this time, you can see that whenever the L occurs, it have captured the information before the L only. And you can see it here too. This is the split function based on the state AA. Then we have this thing. It didn't split because there was no L in Arizona, and you can see California we have L, therefore CA is only captured. But suppose if you want to capture the later part of which is coming after the splitter, in this case we have used L. So let's see if you want to capture the later part of the splitter. So you will come to here again, custom split, L again, not the first and the last. Okay, and in this way we have captured the last part of the string after the splitter. So you can play around with this split function, custom split function, more according to your need to. So this video, in short, in the end I will tell you guys that in this video we have covered that how you can change data types, what are the data types available in Tableau, how you can view data, how you can rename variables, how you can copy data from Tableau to other sources like Excel, and then how you can split your string variables into other variables according to your